Ah! Just hit my elbow off my knee. Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and yes, I do this every December. And no, I'm not talking about being curled up in a fetal position underneath the Christmas tree watching Love Actually with my cat. No, I'm talking about this video. I do this every year. Because 2021, it was a great year for some, utterly hopeless for others. So let's take a look now at every footballer for every age ranging from 18 to 40 in world football who had the worst 2021. Now let me make this clear, alright? This isn't me saying that these people were the worst footballers of the year. No, because then this video would just be filled to the brim with aging left backs playing on the hills of Kazakhstan, having their pre-match meal in the kitchen of their mother's caravan. No. This is me more factoring in these players' reputations and what we actually expected from them this year. So really just the biggest letdowns. Right, let's go. 18, Louis Barry. It seems a bit harsh to stick an 18-year-old boy on this list. Christ, what's a bad year for most 18-year-olds? Only getting 6 views on TikTok? Matching with your cousin on Tinder? Losing your virginity to the cabbage in your fridge? But I don't care, okay? I don't care that this man is barely old enough to vote. I don't care that he probably still has Buzz Lightyear bed sheets and still plays with his X-Men toys on Tuesday nights. Nah, I don't care, okay? 2021 has been a complete anti-climax for Louis Barry. This is an Aston Villa wonder kid who's already spent a year on the books of Barcelona. I mean, most spotty children from Sutton spend their teenage years drinking cans of Stella in a bush and struggling with their French homework. But this kid, he was playing with Pedri and Gavi every day. I mean, to be fair, he was probably in mortal danger of choking on his cheese and egg panini if Messi ever entered the canteen. But lads, he began the year by scoring past Alisson Becker in the FA Cup third round. Jurgen Klopp referred to him as the little Jamie Vardy. It was voted goal of the round by the BBC. And yes, I know he won the FA Youth Cup with Aston Villa. But I'm judging these players on what they did in men's football, not the under-18s. He's done nothing. I mean, Troy Parrott made the same list last year for doing nothing on loan at Ipswich in League One, and Barry, oh, same thing here. This is a striker who used to feed off assists from Pedri, and yet now he's stuffed in the same playing squad as Ed Sheeran. He played over an hour in the defeat to Burton Albion, was given 2 minutes in another loss at Cheltenham, played another hour in a defeat to Newport County in the EFL Cup, and then that's it. He's been left out of 15 matchday squads. And shocking the fact he's also had an infected tooth removed from his head. This kid's been given less playing time at this club than Shani Aluko, some garbage meatball centre forward who spent his career living in the shadows of his sister. But anyway, Barry, he should have just moved to Sunderland in the summer when he had the chance, instead of clearly being deemed as some malnourished schoolboy at Portman Road. 19, Fabio Silva. Wasn't Fabio Silva supposed to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo? Again, I don't want to sit here and scream at a 19-year-old to hurry up, but hurry up! This is a man who cost Wolves £35 million. And honestly, he just looks like if you stuffed Alfie from Sevens in a jacket and plumped him beside John Ruddy on the bench. To be fair, he'd probably spend the match trying to educate his teammates on the Catenaccio tactics in Hungarian football from the 30s. Maybe even giving them a PowerPoint presentation of the history of corner flags. But I remember watching this guy score in the Black Country Derby against West Brom in January. That should have been the moment for him to kick on, leading the line as a makeshift centre forward in the absence of Raul Jimenez. And yet, in the whole of 2021, he's played 31 times and scored 4 goals. Honestly, the new Ronaldo is just a Wolves bench warmer, and the arrival of Francisco Trincão as the new young Portuguese toy has very quickly made this boy look about as appealing as a bowl of rat droppings. Honestly, Francisco Trincão is the Buzz Lightyear, and Silva is the Woody thrown under the bed. Just some neglected toy who has to pay Bo Peep to sleep with him. I mean, Bruno Lage doesn't trust Silva. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He hasn't made it off the bench in a month, and from a possible 1,350 Premier League minutes he could have played this season, Silva has been given just 34, little more than half an hour. We're nearly at Christmas and he's been on the pitch for a little more than the length of a Simpsons episode. Not to mention he had to suffer the embarrassment and stress of having his £35 million transfer investigated by the Portuguese police in July. I wouldn't be surprised if in January he gets loaned out to Fulham and Marco Silva. 20, Eric Garcia. Right, so the man played 0 minutes of Champions League football for Man City in 2021, limply watching on like a helpless plastic snow cone. The man represented Spain in the Olympic Games, playing every single minute. I'm guessing his legs were close to falling off. Sure, he got the dream move to Barcelona, but no. They're 7th in the league, out of the Champions League, and he's been sent off twice, and now Xavi has relegated him to the familiar sight of the bench. Oh, it's been hideous. 21, Ryan Brewster. If I was Ryan Brewster, I would be close to chucking my football boots in a bin. This is ridiculous and just sad. This striker was seen as a Liverpool wonder kid, part of the under-17 World Cup winning team. Good rights, he won the goddamn golden boot. But a £20 million move to Sheffield United. He initially struggled, but things did not get any better in 2021. In this calendar year, he started just 6 Premier League games, registered 0 goals. At least when the Blades were relegated, United. The man has proven he can score goals in the Championship while known as Swansea. Maybe you could have a crack at winning the Golden Boot, right? Nah, instead he started just 7 Championship games and 4 of them were on the wing. He went 2 months failing to make it off the bench. He scored just 2 league goals all year against Blackburn and Bristol City. He's seen 2 Sheffield United managers sacked on his watch. It's horrific. This was a Liverpool superstar and now the Blades want to dump him on the doorstep of Nottingham Forest. 22 Dwight Mcneal. Burnley fans are probably spluttering their morning coffee out all over the cat now, right? But I don't care. Last year, Man United predicted the £50 million move for Dwight Mcneal. 50 million! Well, in 2021, he's played 41 matches for club and country, registering 2 goals and 6 assists. I'm sorry, but you want your attacking players to affect the game? 2 goals in the entire calendar year, that is utterly revolting. If I was Ralph Rangnick and my chief scout recommended that I sign this man in January, then you're damn right I'd be force-feeding scrambled eggs up his nose. 23 Jamal Lewis. In August 2020, Jamal Lewis was nearly signing for Liverpool from Norwich. Things looked bright for the boy, but 2021 couldn't have gone worse. Steve Bruce gave him a run of 9 Premier League starts at left back from January until March, where he mostly looked like a defensive bagel sandwich. Price of in that run of games there were 2 wins and 6 defeats, so he gets benched for the rest of the season and most of this, only getting his place back on the 30th of November. Not to mention he suffered the worldwide shame and embarrassment when he was playing for Northern Ireland in the crucial World Cup qualifier against Switzerland, and he gets sent off after 36 minutes for time wasting. Can you imagine how embarrassed he would have been stood in the showers? He probably would have preferred to have a shower in prison. It's been an utterly rotten year for Jamal Lewis. He can't do anything right. Crazy well, when he pours his morning bowl of Cocoa Pops, he's probably in danger of burning down his flat. 24 Donny van de Beek. Just simple. Donny van de Beek does not get played. This is a man who in 2019 was nominated for the Ballon d'Or. 4 Premier League starts in 2021. What is that? He failed to make it off the bench 24 times in a calendar year, one of which was the European final. Disgusting. Van de Beek, don't let yourself be on this list in a year's time. Get out of Manchester now. 25 Arthur Melo. Yeah, remember that mid-20 swap deal between Juventus and Barcelona involving Miralem Pjanic and Arthur? Well, as predicted, it's proven to be a complete mess of a deal. Price up, we've now got a midfield generational talent like Pjanic rotting away in a Turkish village, while Arthur, I mean, this guy was supposed to be the next Thiago Alcantara. He was a £72 million signing on a 5-year deal, and yet, the Brazilian international is now spending his prime years sitting beside Aaron Ramsey on the bench. This man has been riddled by injuries, but not only that, he's also mostly shown the midfield presence of a steak and kidney pie. In 2021, the man has started just 8 Serie A matches. He's failed to make it off the bench 13 times for Juventus in the entire calendar year. Max Allegri clearly has about as much faith in his ability that I do in Adam Sandler's ability to act. He's just spent the last 5 Serie A matches stuffed on the bench. And not only that, he was left out of Brazil's Copa America squad. He crashed his Ferrari, dumped his agent, and he's now linked with Lazio. What a horrific year of football. 26th Anthony Martial. I'm sorry, I thought Anthony Martial was done with feeding his potential through a wood chipper. I thought the penny had dropped, that he'd finally taken his career out of that broken microwave and was starting to look like the real deal. Don't forget, towards the end of the 1920 season, the man was playing every week as Manchester United centre forward, scoring 9 times and weighing with 4 assists in the club's last 12 Premier League matches. When he spanked in that Old Trafford hat-trick against Sheffield United in July 2020, everyone thought this man had arrived, ending the season with 23 goals and 12 assists. The guy was even back in the France squad, playing nearly every match in the UEFA Nations League. If Euro 2020 had happened in the summer 2020, before Karim Benzema was dragged back in from the wilderness, then I promise you, this man would have started as France's main centre forward at Euro 2020. How unlucky is that? And yet now in 2021, he's just back to being that useless potato rotting on the bench. Clearly he never recovered from that red card for slapping Eric Lamela in the face. But I'm sorry, if your confidence and self-esteem is really crippled by that, of being shouted at by the big bad Harry Maguire in the dressing room, then clearly you've got the backbone of a Terry's chocolate orange. In 2021, the man has played 29 times for Man United. He's been given his chance by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and yet paid him back with just 4 goals. Grace Buff, in the space of a year, he's gone from being Old Trafford's golden boy to being linked with Newcastle United, with Geordies wondering if they can fit him into a strike partnership with Callum Wilson. Just what? He must be this close to biting off his own nose. 27 Vedat Muriqi. It's actually kind of sad to see how little Vedat Muriqi has enjoyed 2021. Make no mistake about it, in 2020 this man was a 17 goal a season machine for Fenerbahce up front, but the cost of the striker moved to Lazio in September 2020 and he's managed to score 1 goal in 30 Serie A matches in 2021. Maurizio Sarri has clearly given up on this guy because he now just rots on the bench. It's been an awful year. 28 Harry Maguire. Postbox. Next, 29 Christian Eriksen. I mean, who else? 30 Eden Hazard. This is just sad, it really is. I know Eden Hazard was on the same list this time last year, but nothing has changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. This is a £100 million superstar, don't forget that. He's played 26 times for Real Madrid in 2021, 2 goals and 2 assists. I'm sorry, he gets paid what, £400,000 a week to score twice a year? What else? He was dumped out of the Champions League semi-finals by Chelsea, you know, the club he left to further his career, and was caught laughing after the match, prompting the sensitive Spanish media to try and desecrate his bowels with a butter knife. There's been injuries, the fact that he watches idols Zinedine Zidane leave the club. He suffered the embarrassment of being a bit part player for Belgium at Euro 2020. This guy is supposed to be that country's best player, and now he's been outshunned by his kid brother. It's like if next summer KSI sits on his couch watching Deji headline Glastonbury. What else? He's played over an hour in that Champions League defeat to a bunch of Moldovan plumbers, which was arguably the darkest chapter in the history of Real Madrid. Eden Hazard, the world superstar, now looks like a chunky Burger King addict who's now got the end product of Sammy Amiobi. He's surely the biggest flop in the history of the sport. 31, Genie Van Alden. Let's be honest, Genie Van Alden hasn't been the worst 31-year-old footballer on the planet, but for his high standards, this is a Premier League and Champions League winning midfielder. But from January until March, he lost 8 out of 12 Premier League matches for Liverpool. That's the relegation for me at Newcastle. Going on a 4-match losing sequence, getting spanked in the Merseyside derby at Anfield. What do you think that did to his pride? I mean, sure, he finished the season well to help them squeak into third, but no, by his standards, that's pretty rotten. There was that meek Champions League exit to Real Madrid that was very weak. There was an acrimonious switch to PSG, where he damaged his relationship with Liverpool fans, and he's mostly been in and out of the team in France. He's been named on the PSG bench 13 times this season. Christ above, Pochettino used to pick Ryan Mason more than that. Oh yeah, and chuck in the fact that during the summer, he and the Netherlands were dumped out of Euro 2020 with an embarrassing last 16 exit to a pretty average muck team like Czech Republic. Yeah, it's been a pretty horrible year. 32, Andy Carroll. 10 years ago, Andy Carroll was a British record transfer for Liverpool. Don't forget that. Listen, he's still only 32 and he began the year well, finally getting off the mark by scoring against Leicester on the 3rd of January. Then he played 105 minutes at the Emirates Stadium in the FA Cup third round, where he actually bullied the Arsenal defence, and then he scored a couple of goals. You'd think he would kick on from that. No, he only started 2 more Premier League matches after that, was rarely picked by Steve Bruce, released by his boyhood club in the summer, and dumped on the porch of Reading. Yeah, fair enough, he is now scoring a couple of championship goals, but for a 32-year-old Andy Carroll, it's not good enough. 33, Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero deserved better than this. This man should have left Manchester City as a hero, not hobbling out the back door like a granny with arthritis in both feet. In 2021, he played 417 minutes of Premier League football. That is barely the equivalent of 5 games. He was given just 10-minute cameos in the Champions League, including just 13 minutes in his only ever Champions League final, where he barely touched the ball. His final game in a Manchester City shirt was watching Chelsea lift the Champions League 10 feet away from his face. He must have felt like fetching up his breakfast. Yeah, I know he had a nice moment where he scored 2 in a 5-0 win over Everton in his last ever Premier League match, but even then, Guardiola couldn't even be bothered to give him a start. It was just a 25-minute cameo. I mean, not to mention, 2 weeks earlier, he stupidly fluffed a Penenka penalty against Chelsea in the Premier League, and City went on to lose the match. That was the most embarrassing moment of his career. He moves to Barcelona to play with Lionel Messi, then sees Messi immediately quit for PSG. Barca take 4 months to register him as a goddamn player. A calf injury keeps him sidelined until October. Yes, he scored an El Clasico, but they still lose the match. And now, after just 150 minutes of football in a Barcelona shirt, he's being diagnosed with a heart condition, with the media heavily rumouring that he's already told his mates that he's going to have to retire. Oh yeah, and he was given just 1 minute of Copa America knockout football in the summer. So the great Aguero is just serving as some cheerleader on the bench. So 5 calendar goals, a Champions League final heartbreak, being dumped by Man City, Copa America bench warming, seeing his best mate leave Barcelona. Oh, and the fact that he had the virus in January, and now possible retirement that I'm gonna call it. Aguero had the worst 2021 in football. 34, Salvatore Sirigu. Yeah, here's Salvatore Sirigu, PSG's former #1 goalie. Yes, I know he won Euro 2020 as at least backup keeper. That was good, yes, but I don't know, a man of his ego and reputation, he's been Torino's first choice goalie ever since they dumped Joe Hart in 2017. Well, it wasn't really a nice finish to his spell there. In May alone, he had to pick the ball out of his net 7 times against AC Milan, followed it up with a 4-1 loss to Spezia, finished 17th in the league with Torino, nearly got relegated. He then moves to Genoa in the summer, but lads, he's 19th in Serie A without a win all season. And guess what? Just conceded a goal to Juventus directly from a corner kick. It's not great. 35, Sergio Ramos. I remember when Jonathan Bouquet arrived at Real Madrid from Newcastle and didn't play for a year because he was utterly savaged by injury. I mean, the world literally laughed at him for having a body about as sturdy as a tub of Ben & Jerry's, right? Well, why isn't nobody laughing at the big bad Sergio Ramos? Since arriving at PSG in the summer on a £312,000 a week wage, he's been dogged by a calf injury to the point where he's only played 1 game for PSG. I'm sorry, we live in a world where PSG allowed a world-class centre-half like Thiago Silva to leave them on a free to go win the Champions League somewhere else, and they replaced him with, yes, a Champions League winning addict, but who can barely waddle out of bed without cracking a hip. The transfer's been so bad that there are even rumours that Ramos will have his contract ripped up and fed to the cat. As a calendar year, it's been a pretty grotesque one for Ramos. Tendon irritation robbed him of Euro 2020, probably the last international tournament of his career, while his glittering Real Madrid career ended in the treatment room. He played just 2 La Liga matches in 2021. This man deserved a farewell, a glorious send-off. No, instead his last game for Real Madrid was just in mid-March. This man has had the most depressing year of his life, just wasting away like a chunk of broccoli in a hospital bed. His career is being turned upside down to the point now where he's just some PSG cheerleader who has to actively cheer on Lionel Messi every week. I'm guessing every time he celebrates a goal, he must feel a sick taste of vomit in his throat. Thrice above, he'd have had to congratulate Messi on winning a Ballon d'Or. Considering he's best mates with Ronaldo, no, that's it's a bit like taking a shower with your elderly aunt. It just feels wrong. 36, Roberto Zadato. Yeah, Roberto Zadato is still going. You probably all thought this Tottenham flop had chucked it all in, right? And was now serving pints in a bar in Ibiza. But no, he's still playing. Listen, this Spanish striker ended last season with 14 goals for Granada and finished 9th in the Liga. That sounds good, but after Christmas, it wasn't. He once again proved to be utterly allergic to English football when chucking in a centre-forward disaster class across 2 Europa League quarter-finals against Manchester United. Honestly, he was about as dangerous as a punctured watering can. In the second leg, he was dragged off at half-time, but this is where things get really embarrassing. This is a nearly 40-year-old man with bags of experience, right? Well, in May, during a 1-0 home defeat to Cadiz, Granada are denied a late penalty, and yet this walking turnip decides to berate the referee, as if that ever works. He then picks up 2 yellow cards for dissent, getting sent off. Utterly moronic. He was sold to Levante in the summer and immediately demonstrated he's got hamstrings made of Weetabix because he sat out 7 games in a row and is yet to score a single La Liga goal for his new club as they sit bottom of the league on 0 wins. In the space of 6 months, you've gone from a Europa League quarter-final against Manchester United to almost guaranteed relegation. What a revolting turn of events. 37, Branislav Ivanovic. Branislav Ivanovic is not yet retired, but oh boy, does his reputation currently nestle at the bottom of a sewer pipe. I realised he was tempted by a return to the Premier League with West Brom. Well, in 2021, he began the year by chucking in a goat cheese performance in a 4-0 home defeat to Arsenal, just days after being danced off the park at the Hawthorns in a 5-0 loss to Leeds. And then that was it really. He played 11 minutes against Brighton in February, came on as a substitute at his beloved Stamford Bridge, before being embarrassingly replaced 13 minutes later with a hamstring pull. So that was it. In 2021, the man played a grand total of 90 minutes, watched his team get relegated before being chucked out the door as if he smelt of menopause. Not really a dignified year for a man with over 100 Russian caps. 38, Erin Cohen. Remember Erin Cohen, that former Everton striker? Yeah, he was playing Europa League group stage football with Sivasspor from Turkey last season. I mean, he's still playing as a centre forward, but I don't care how old he is, alright? He played 24 games of football for Sivasspor in 2021 and weighed in with 0 goals. He's since been released and no wonder, showed the clinical edge of a toilet brush. 39, Fabrizio Colaccini. Listen, I am tempted to pick Jermaine Defoe as he continues to show the Rangers fans why he's the perfect example of someone who should already be retired and sitting in a pundit chair. But instead, I'm gonna go with Fabrizio Colaccini, and yes, he is still alive. Apparently this man wanted to leave Newcastle for his boyhood club San Lorenzo so he could retire there, right? That was the dream. Yeah, about that. Barely got a kick last season, playing a grand total of 2 minutes in the Argentina League. You would think that existence would be so boring that he'd finally get the hint to retire, right? Well no, instead he switched to Club Atletico Aldosivi, where to be fair, he is playing games in Argentina, but of the 18 games he's lined out in the centre of their defence, their team has lost 11 times. Twice above, the club went on an 8-game losing run where he was sent off and then immediately dumped to the bench, but guess what? They suddenly, miraculously, didn't lose a single match for any of the 4 games where he was benched for. And then when he was put back into the team, they immediately crumbled and lost 3-0 to Boca Juniors. I mean, come on, clearly he's now a walking dish rag. He didn't have any pace in 2016 when he left Newcastle, so I'm guessing now he's probably slower than a wheelchair. 40, Mycon. Yeah, remember when they said that Gareth Bale crushed Mycon's confidence and self-belief into the size of a Galaxy cream egg? Well, utter nonsense, because it's 11 years later and he's playing more football than Gareth Bale. I mean, the man signed for 2 clubs in 2021. In January, signing for Sona in Brazil's Serie D. Price above Sona, wasn't that the plot of Prison Break? This man was once a treble winner for Inter Milan. And guess what? Of the 17 games he played for Sona, he lost 8 of them, being danced around by men who probably squeeze milk out of farm cows for a living. He left them in the summer for Trey Penn FC, a top flight club, yes, but honestly, lads, it's a top flight club in San Marino. You know, the laughing stock of football. By the way, he's since become a reformed centre back, probably because he now has the pace of a penguin. But his first taste of European competitive football in years, he played the Europa Conference League qualifiers in a 7-0 aggregate loss to Dinamo Batumi. I know he's 40, but look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's the same age, but he's going out with dignity, top of Serie A and in the Champions League. His former rival for the Brazil shirt, roughly around this, he's playing for Barcelona, and you're in San Marino, playing alongside actual accountants, trying and failing to qualify for Europe's 3rd-tier competition, and yet being utterly smashed by a team from Georgia. Oh, Mike, see what you did, Gareth Bale? I hope this wrestling, this is what you did to him. This is what you've done to Mike. San Marino, Christ above. Anyway, that's it. Let me know. What do you think? Alright, who's been the worst players? Let me know in the comments below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk shit a while.